if you ask a Balkan parent what is their dream for their kid, is either to get married, get rich, or get the hell out. I grew up in this glorified idea of leaving your country, but there are so many things nobody talks about. So today I will talk about the things that nobody told me about living abroad, especially coming from a culture that puts it in the pedestal. Hello and welcome to my channel. Most probably you might be new because all the videos I've done before except the Adele video are in Albanian. Definitely if you like it, I would continue doing it. Just let me know in the comments. So I want to say that today I have put some plumping lip gloss and also plumping pencil on my lips, and I feel like I don't feel anything. So if you see some weird movement of my lips, I'm sorry. I did the mistake today. I should never do this again. In Albania, and honestly, I feel like it's in the most of the Balkans, living abroad is seen like the ultimate success. So as soon as you leave the country, as soon as you stepped in the European Union, especially country or US, let's be more specific, you are just rolling into money. You are swimming in the pounds of wealth. You're brunching every day. You can afford everything. You are immediately in a better position than anybody else. And actually, maybe you are in a better position than economically than many other people. But actually, what's the reality is that my entire first 10 to 20 days in Germany were completely me crying everywhere and anywhere and doubting my decision to move abroad. And starting from opening a bank account, finding your doctor, your house doctor, figuring out what am I allowed to do, what am I not allowed to do in the German community, and the list goes on. And I kind of totally get the romanticizing of living abroad because, everybody wants a better life. Definitely my life has changed for the better living abroad. But as I said, no one tells you about realities and the shocks that come with it. And trust me on this because this is my third time living abroad or in another country. So actually, for me, the whole point of where do I belong, where do I come from started quite early in my life, since I was born in Greece with Albanian parents and I lived there for 10 years and then I moved back to Albania. The rest of the 13 years of my life, so till 23, I was living in Albania. So I studied, I went to school, and so on. And now, since almost 5 years, I am living in Germany. But let's go back a bit at the point when I moved from Greece to Albania. So everybody would say that, so you went back home. Yeah, almost, because the home that I knew was not Albania. Albania was my vacation time, the good, well-spent ways with Nana and everybody in the city, my cousins, maybe some friends that I made there, but that was not what I called home. But to be honest, that was a cultural shock by its own. I did not speak very well Albanian, even though I would understand most of it. But usually you understand the words, but mostly not the context, because there is also a cultural connotation in the sentences and so on. And as a 10-year-old, it was quite hard. And also Greeks have a very specific accent on the Albanian language, or maybe in many languages, but especially on Albanian. So I got mocked about that a lot. And imagine that I had to learn by heart a specific, very difficult dialect of Albanian poems. And that really, I think, that period of time of getting adjusted from Greece to Albania was one of the hardest of my entire life. But the point is that in Greece, I was the Albanian kid because I had Albanian parents. Even though my first spoken language was Greek, I still was the Albanian kid. But also, when I was going in Albania, and for the first period of time in Albania, I was the Greek. So you see this Greek girl, the Greek one. And I don't want to mention what else I have heard in those years, but let's give it like this. So for me, it was definitely a crisis of actually, where do I belong? It's this exactly really space in between where you are not fully from one country, but you're not also fully from the other one. The question, where are you from? And it always makes me, even though it looks like it's the easiest answer of the world, it always makes me pause. Like, what should I say? Am I Greek? Am I Albanian? Am I both? What is the answer that I should answer to the people? I finally have figured it out lately that in specific situations, I say specific answers and I use it a bit in my advantage, finally. But as I said, it always makes me pause. Unfortunately, it took me a while to figure out and to find these answers. And for me, it was a bit hard because I was unsure if the perception of myself and where I am from, and it's not just because of the meaning of where are you from, let's say geographically, but it's mostly on which culture do you belong to more? Even though both cultures are quite similar, they still have their very significant differences that I feel sometimes glad that I got from one culture and sometimes a bit ashamed that I got it from the other one. For me, it was a shame to tell people that I am a mix of those cultures, but actually that's the truth. I feel very bad that I let the perception of the people or the people generally force me to believe something that did not fall on the right place with me. But I don't blame myself because all this happened when I was very, very young. But as I've said many times before, this topic falls only to yourself if you are on the same position as me. So let's get back on the stuff that nobody puts on the Instagram captions or on the pages of their amazing, perfect reel or carousel. Leaving your country means that you are leaving everything behind: your family, your childhood friends, your memories, your everyday routine, your favorite bars, your favorite boutiques, your everything. At first, it's quite exciting because you're getting to learn and see new things, but after a while, it really gets annoying because you are spending a whole 365 days of the year outside of home. So you start missing birthdays, holidays, because they do not fall on the same place as your vacation. And suddenly you find yourself FaceTiming even on the shortest walks possible because you want a friend. I mean, a familiar friend from home. You're FaceTiming while you go for shopping, talking about nonsense with your family, and adapting to a new country. That's a whole other story. It's definitely hard. I don't care how European I look or you look. It's always difficult because every country has its unwritten rules, and that's the hardest part that you need to learn. For example, I guess that now that many people are living in Germany, they know about the appointment culture. For me, it's a shock because in Albania and in Greece, yeah, you have appointments, of course, but you can have an appointment like the latest next week, or you can get an appointment in 1 hour. So it's like this amount of time. But in Germany, minimum of an appointment is 2 weeks, and then it comes to 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. It depends on the service. Germans, this is very deep into their culture. They usually cannot work without appointment. You need an appointment to open a bank account. Do you want to have a SIM card? You need an appointment. You cannot just go and knock the door. Actually, I want to tell a fun story. I mean, now it's a fun story because back then, for me, it was actually my pain. As my mistake, I hadn't researched anything on what do you need to prepare when you come to Germany, or what is the process of finding a house, or the registration, and so on. Okay, yes, my mistake, but also I had some cousins here that they were supposed to help me, but as you see, they were not so helpful. But what happened was that the first thing that came into my mind was to go and buy a SIM card. I went to buy a SIM card, and I talked with them. We've agreed on which plan I would use. And at the end, the person asked me, "Can you give me a bit of registration?" I was like, "Registration? What do you mean by registration? It's not enough that I have an ID card with me." And they were like, no, welcome to Germany. You need to be registered, so you need to have an apartment and a valid address in Germany, and then we can give you your phone number and your SIM. And I was like, okay, poof. I was living back then in a short-term accommodation till I found something to stay long-term. I started working, and in some days I would get my salary, and also I needed to pay, if I would find an apartment, I would need to pay the caution and the rent. So I went to the German bank, and I said, "Hey, hi, it's me, Ira. I want to open a bank account." "Sorry, Miss Ira, where is your registration?" Fuck my life. And I did not have a registration, and then I couldn't open a bank account. And I found ways around it so I could pay everything, because later on I found an apartment, and then I could pay. And then my salary, I didn't get it that month, so I got it together with the next one. But yeah, that was my first reality check with Germany. Maybe in English-speaking countries, it's not such an issue, but here the language barrier is visible because it was a bit better some years ago, like 1 or 2 years ago, in the sense of English speaking jobs and opportunities. But now the market has become a bit difficult and quite narrow for only English speaking people. But when it comes to the society, speaking English in Munich has become much more popular than 5 years ago when I moved here. In other shops and other places, you can communicate in English. But all the government places and many very German companies, which are, for example, responsible for services, you cannot solve an issue without German. Yeah, and it's my pain. I try so hard. I know that most of my German is bullshit, but at least I kind of solve my problems. I feel like sometimes you get mocked for your bad German. Actually, I heard in the train that small kid, 6 or 7 years old, this will be racistic, but is the truth. This kid was saying to her mother, "Mom, I am from a place." So in German, of course. "I don't speak very well German." Ha 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 ha. And unfortunately, I feel that many people have this attitude towards foreigners, and that's not nice. It's not that they immediately will show you that you are not so welcome, but through the time you will feel it and see it in other cases. I don't know if a very painful thing, which I don't think it's the case in my country, except from now that the prices have skyrocketed without a reason behind that. But here in Germany, especially in Munich, housing crisis is crazy. I feel blessed for my apartment because I am pretty sure that these days to find an apartment as mine, it's 200 or 300 extra euros for a very small apartment. Okay, you say I will sacrifice a bit of my income and now I will pay a bit more to have the house that I want. It's not only about the money. It's so hard to find something you like, something that they will like you back. And there is a huge competition with other tenants, which makes it almost impossible for you to rent the house that you want. I don't know if this will ever get solved, but that's something that nobody ever told me before, that it will be a pain to get a house. Yeah, I know now people are more aware because more people are living abroad and they bring up these topics and these pains more often than before. But 5 years ago, I had no one to talk about this. Another pain is making friends as an adult. Everyone here already has, I mean, for the native people, everyone here has their circles, their inner jokes, their routines with their friends, and it's super hard to sneak in this circle and be part of them, especially if you don't speak German. But I don't blame them, because let's imagine the situation that I still live in Albania and I go out with my friends. Yes, I will take my expat friend and have fun 1, 2, 3, 4 times, but I cannot take him with me or her and every time, because I feel like I am putting myself in an uncomfortable position that they need to speak a language they don't use every day. Their routine go out where they choose that this time they want to spend with friends. They speak their language and have their jokes and so on. So I don't really blame them for putting new people in their circles, but I'm pretty sure that if Germans were not so schedule oriented, I might have had more German friends than. And yeah, but also like with other expats, to get the real connection takes more effort than normally it would be with people you speak the same language. It's difficult because also different cultures value different things more than others, and it's hard to find people with your values and what. But what I have noticed is that people from corrupted countries, they go very well together. So all my friends come from corrupted countries. Woo! But let's go back into the part of what nobody tells you is that success is not guaranteed. And by success in a foreign country, I don't mean to be a CEO or something, but even to integrate to the culture is a success by its own, which it doesn't mean that you are not compatible with the culture, but also it might be that you just do not like the things how they are done in a country. It doesn't need to be Germany, but anywhere else. You maybe don't like having appointments. Maybe you don't like that Sundays are Ruhetag, hoo-hoo, and nobody should make noise. So there are things that you choose if you want to leave them or not. And it's totally fine. You explore yourself and find out things about yourself living abroad that you would never find out in a place like home, in a place where you don't have a safety pillow, you don't have your parents to call to solve your issues. The only person that you have is you. That's the thing that really makes you find out things about yourself that you would never, ever find out home. And for me, to find out if I liked Germany or not was a quite long journey. I think that now I'm in a position to call myself that I'm in peace with Germany. Maybe I would not stay here forever, but I'm in peace with where I am living right now. It took me almost 5 years to really feel calm and find out the ways to cope with my new reality that 4 years may seem a lot to somebody, but if you are in that position that you don't know yet, you just moved into another country, you just moved into a new city, it's totally fine to take your time to figure out if you love, hate, or you are okay with this city, country. It's very important to embrace every step of your journey and everything you feel. Treat yourself with love and don't blame anything to yourself. Your choices, your journey. Just stay true to yourself and be kind. Do not be harsh, because this makes the journey even harder than it actually is. So for me, moving into my dream country, my dream city, it was like a shock. First of all, I reached one of my biggest goals, or let's say my only goal at that time. So for me to readjust and accept the fact that I am in this country that I cherish so much, and I need to live now here and navigate towards new goals, new dreams, and everything was very hard. And it took me a while to just accept this. And actually, the reality check of my dream world with the reality was so clashing that it made it even harder. All this clashing and all these feelings came out as a hate towards the country, the language, the people. But the thing was that the only thing that was happening was that I was making myself feel worse in a country where I'm alone. And even though I have friends, I don't want to put out all this negative energy towards them. So I tried really hard with my staying with myself, talking to myself, to really find the cause where everything was coming from which part of myself was coming from, till now, where I think that I am out of my situation, or let's say I can see it a bit with colder feelings, or as an outsider, and I can be easily objective about it, because I can count many things that I love about Germany, and they are the reasons why I'm staying here. But at the same time, I can count many reasons as well that I don't really fit into this culture and this country. But I'm living here because I like it. And I will still live here because I like it. I don't let the things that make me sometimes sad ruin the whole experience of living here. So this would be a suggestion, a friendly suggestion from me to you, if you are on the same page, that really let yourself feel everything, because that would guide you towards you facing your negative emotions and everything else. That will lead you then to either really hate the place and say that I'm done, I'm leaving, or love it, or even maybe just be fine with your choice and in this moment of your life. Another thing that it's quite hard about leaving home is the fact that when you go back home, home has changed. Has changed because in your perception, home should stay the same, right? Like, I don't mean family or everything, but I mean the whole scenario of home, like your city, your country, your surroundings, or whatever. But you go back and you see that everything has changed. This happens usually some time after you leave, months or even some years. And you see that you have evolved and changed into the person that you are today. And then you go to your home and you see that you don't belong there anymore, because you have changed, home has changed in two different parts. And the only thing that connects you with that place is family and your memories. because everything else has walked on its ways, and it's quite painful and makes you so nostalgic when you see that. Oh my god, I am sent to cry. I will cry. No, 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 not now, not now, not now. And that's one of the things that I cannot make peace with, but it comes as a cost of living abroad. So if there's something that I've learned from living abroad alone, is that you need to stop chasing this perfect living abroad experience. You just need to make your own and start embracing this journey for what it really is. And something that really helped me was appreciating and finding joy in little things. A cafe, a bookstore that reminds you of something. It makes you feel more like home. Find joy in things that are really close to you and to your heart, because this will make your journey easier and better. Stay connected to your home, but without stopping yourself from growing and going your own way. And something that I would have said to my younger self: you don't need to choose an identity. You don't need to be something. You can be a mix of all of these places, experiences, shapes, whatever. And that's why you are beautiful. I really wish that I knew all of this when I just moved to Germany. It would have made this much easier for me. It would have made it much easier for me to know that getting adjusted and getting to know and trying to fit in somewhere, it's hard and it's a journey. You will get there at some point, but you need to live it. And this is why I'm trying to maybe help you a little bit on your journey, because there was nobody to tell me that. At the end of the day, living abroad, it's not just leaving a country. It's leaving everything you knew behind and opening a new door for you to explore yourself in many different ways. It's also your opportunity to create your own home in wherever you go. It is messy, it is lonely, it is painful, it is everything, but at the end, you win. You win your new self with your new experiences, with your new knowledge that you wouldn't have learned if you wouldn't have stepped out of your comfort zone. Cheers to that. Good job, and I hope you find your way. And if you liked our little conversation, and if I made you feel a bit better and I hugged you virtually, please let me know in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Everything is valued. See you on the next one.